Good morning and welcome to the Capital Gang. Welcome back.
Thank you, Oscar. Glad to be back.
Yes, we have missed you.
Yeah,
Star Cafe goodies are still here.
I can see.
Please engage.
And the bananas are yellow,
And
so...
So I guess you haven't lost your touch.
Not yet.
And you are the only one who has gains to protect. Right. In the studio, I have Benjamin Katana, the money man of NUP. You're most welcome.
The man without money. Thank you very much. Oscar, it's always a pleasure.
Yes. Derek Wandera, most welcome to the Capital Gang.
Thank you. Thank you, Oscar.
Yes.
It's always a pleasure being here.
Malcolm on ground.
I was collecting some snow for the kids for Christmas.
You what, pardon?
I was collecting some snow for the kids for Christmas.
We have different problems.
We have different. For you want to protect gains, so maybe Malcolm has gains to protect.
Obviously.
And in the studio, I have someone who is very much in the news. Uganda Airlines PR, Ms. Shakila Rahim. You're most welcome to the Capital Gang.
Thank you, Oster, for having me here today and the fellow gangsters. Thank you very much.
And Uganda Airlines is in the news. And the issue is delayed flights, stranded airplanes. A little while ago, they said your plane had a puncture in London. So anyone who has anything bad to say, or a meme, or someone who can draw anything, these days they draw Uganda Airlines. So, Shakila, what's happening at our dear Uganda Airlines?
Thank you very much, Oscar. I think let me start by apologizing and regret that there are those occurrences and the disruptions are happening at this time. And that is really regrettable. And for us who wake up every day to ensure that those flights take off and land on time, it's really sometimes unfortunate, and it's an ugly scene really to be there at the airport and see the anxiety caused, and especially this period when people are coming home for these long-awaited flights. So I would say what's happening right now, we're having disruptions across the network, and it's still continuing. We're trying to minimize it. And I would say that the disruption is caused majorly by inadequate fleet. Remember, we have 6 fleet, but also we have a leased aircraft, an A320, to support the operation by bridging the gap between the CRJ and the A330neo. So where the CRJ may not be able to go and take passengers with their luggages or cargo, and due to range limitations, we deploy the A320. So currently, the A320, we've downgraded the equipment for Dubai to the A320. The capacity is 160. So still, I would like to explain what happened on Sunday night. I think...
First, go back a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, when you say things like fleet and so on, only Malcolm understands them.
Yes.
Me, and I think in the studio, I might be the only one who has been on Uganda Airlines severally.
Okay.
So let's go back.
You'll be surprised.
I'd be surprised.
Okay.
But I know Malcolm has not been there. So
aircraft.
When you say, aircraft, good.
Okay.
So when you say these 7, whatever, they are the smaller aircraft.
So we have the CRJ 900.
And that's the smaller one.
The small ones. There are 4, Bombardier.
Okay.
Then you have the A330neo.
Right. And those are bigger planes.
Yes.
But we don't own them.
We own them.
Oh,
we own 6 unencumbered.
Okay.
Yes.
And then we own 6 and we have borrowed how many?
We have leased.
Leased.
One. So we call it wet lease because we lease it. We lease it on terms of aircraft. We call it ACMI: aircraft, crew, maintenance, and insurance.
Okay.
So when we enter into an agreement, the contractor or the lessor provides the aircraft, provides crew. That's why when you fly that aircraft, you'll see not Ugandans on that on that aircraft operating it, or crew on the aircraft will be different.
I have ever flown back from Dubai or Qatar or Doha on an Oman something. Is that how it
That
works?
is the arrangement.
Right.
But that would be on a dry lease. So there are different types of leases.
Yeah.
So dry lease would mean that is a long-term arrangement. It can take up to 10 years because the wet lease takes 6 months and then you have to renew because of regulations. But the dry lease will come an aircraft and you'll handle those 4 things.
Okay.
Aircraft,
Crew,
maintenance and insurance.
Okay.
And then you'll use your own crew.
So which one of yours is grounded? Which one of them is grounded?
So now we have a CRJ on the ground.
One of the
due
4.
to maintenance, one of the 4.
Right.
And then we have the long haul, one of the A330 Neo in Lagos. So it is apparently, we could call it AOG or aircraft on ground, because when it flew to Lagos and the engineer was doing his rounds, he realized that there was something technically wrong. So we tried to use support in Lagos, maintenance support in Lagos, but they could not handle it. So also we reached out to the manufacturer. And then still right now we are still awaiting for support. Right. Because the A330, we basically that's the contract. We have to wait for support from them because we cannot fly it back.
Until you have a certificate.
Yes, until they send in either the parts or technical support until that time. But we are making headways. So until we receive that aircraft back, we'll still have some disruptions.
So how are you covering the route to Nigeria, for example?
So that route usually, it's operated by the A320.
Right.
Yeah, the wait list. But because sometimes we have a triangle, we have the Lagos, Abuja, and Tebe. That's when we operate with the A330 Neo. But on days where it's just Lagos, it's downgraded to the A320. So on that day, we were also proceeding to Abuja, but we did not make it there. So right now, how we are covering currently that routes that were supposed to be operated, first priority right now, we're looking at London because we had a lot of forward bookings. People are coming home, and we have feeder routes that are feeding that route. We have Lusaka, we have Harare, feeding that route massively. And we also have Ugandans, we have passengers from Juba, Kinshasa, transits basically to feed that route. So also Mumbai, it's heavy on baggage. We have traders from Kinshasa, Burundi, Ugandans.
So Uganda Airlines has taken a decision for now, as you fix your planes, to fly to London and to fly to India. Is that what you're saying?
We've been flying there because we have 17 points.
Right.
So we're saying focusing
okay.
on those routes because you have forward booking as far as people booked from the time we opened London. So we're trying to make sure, and coming back from London, that flight is full.
Yeah.
So we're trying to also manage the guests on that point.
So what about the local? You know, I've called you several times when I'm not so happy, especially in Tanzania.
I know.
Because perennially that plane has been late to Tanzania. But Kenya, recently we had staff there and they were late. So locally, what are you doing? So
what we've done as remedial measures, we've contracted or the network or the schedules contracted or shrinked. Because, for example, you might have flown maybe midday. We had ramped up the schedule to have 3 times daily for Nairobi because it's a busy route. We have morning, we have midday, and we have the night flight. So now we have pulled out 1 flight. But also it means that in future you're going to see a dip in our revenues because you see when you deploy seats, for example, because CRJ is 76 seats. So when you deploy 76 times 3 in a day, and then you pull out the 76, so which means you've lost that revenue. So that means that we've removed the midday flight. We've also reduced the frequency of Dubai. Usually it was 5, 4, now 3. Then also we have disrupted Kinshasa, which is also a very good route. We've disrupted Abuja. which is also a very good route right now because so many diplomats who are working in Abuja because, it's headquarters, the UN and all these things.
So you're telling us ahead that you're not going to have money?
Yes, I'm preparing you for what is yet to come.
You're not going to make money.
Because of disruptions, something happens to our books. Because every time you reduce, you remove the seats from you make the seats unavailable. Unavailable, yes.
Then you'll have a problem.
Then yes. So if I downgrade a route equipment, for example, Dubai, right now we would be making money. For example, if I deploy the A330 on Dubai, that is 258 seats. Now I have right now pulled it out, and I've deployed the 160-seater. It means that even my cargo is affected because the tonnage is less. So it means that
and if you annoy me with delays, I don't book with you again.
Yes, of course, the perception, and then also you will also get so mad that you will want me to refund you at some point. And then also, but what we are doing right now, we are reprotecting you. Reprotection means that you can fly with another airline if you don't want to wait. We will put you on other carriers because we sign agreements with them. We shall rebook you to a later date with us if you accept. But also, if it's a longer wait, over 8 hours, we shall lodge you, put you in a hotel, and you wait. And next, so those are the
extra costs.
The things that we are doing, and of course,
the
extra costs. Yes.
Finally, from me, I mean, you're in a good position. That's why we think you should be working better, because you're in a good position. You have free planes given to you, and why aren't you running it very well?
I don't understand the
for me personally, I have a mechanic in Kajansi. So when things go wrong, I give him a call. He comes over, fixes the car. So why doesn't Uganda Airlines have their Kamyufu somewhere in Kajansi instead of grounding a plane for 1 week?
There's a cheaper guy,
There's even a cheaper guy. I mean, Shakila, this is what I'm putting to you. You were given new planes, and all you had to do was manage. So why aren't you managing?
So, Oscar, that's a complicated question. Actually, if the regulator heard you, I mean, he wouldn't know what to say because you see that the engineers are type rated on that equipment. We have engineers type rated, or for example, you're certified to maintain that equipment, just like a pilot. So it is complicated business, aviation. We cannot just get a Kamyufu, like you said, or an engineer, a welder downtown to come and weld something. I'll tell you, even the groomer, people who clean aircraft, are certified on that equipment. So, and by the way, post-COVID has kind of messed up this whole logistical activity. Because, for example, sourcing for parts right now, it's a challenge. And you can see how carriers are scrambling for ordering for new fleet. And we are waiting for years for this fleet. It's the same thing with spare parts. I know of a carrier that has grounded its fleet to just cannibalize the aircraft, to be able to remove and fix the other. So you can imagine Uganda Airlines with 6 fleets.
So Shakila, what's the future of Uganda Airlines? Is there hope, or should we just put our hands up? And
with all this happening, there is still hope. Uganda Airlines is still a going concern. It is a viable project. And I don't want us to look at it in disruption and judge it harshly. I want you to first look at London. When I look at London right now, I got a call the other day and someone told me that the price of bananas have gone down in London. So it means every flight is carrying something. Coffee, pineapples. I remember 2 months ago, we didn't have pineapples in this. I could not see pineapples in this country. Where are they going? So we were carrying a lot of agriculture products. We're bringing in, for example, Mumbai. We were doing a lot of trade with Lagos. Lagos, one of the busiest routes is Lagos and Tebe, Mumbai. What are they taking? So
there is
for me, the social impact of this airline is greater than for us to look at it in the lens of disruptions today, which I understand and I acknowledge that they're there, but there is so much to it. And I'll tell you, Oscar, 10 years ago, you'd fly to the neighborhood and pay $800. Right now, you're paying less than $400. So it tells you that we have stabilized fares. Thank you.
Okay, let's start with Mr. Protecting the Gains. What gains are there to protect with Uganda Airlines? Ivan.
Thank you, Oscar. I think that one element, and maybe Shakira will come back to it, that she should have, that you should have asked her is what they need to stabilize the, this uncertainty and these disruptions in the airline. But I think there is a lot to protect. I mean, the airline business globally is a very difficult business, and I think many airlines across the continent actually are loss making. I think it's probably only Ethiopian Airways right now that has been making a profit, and all these airlines are not run by Jennifer Bamuturachi, or they are not managed by Uganda. So I think the aviation industry is a very, very common industry. This airline has survived for 6 years. In 6 years, it has expanded its routes from 6 to 17. It has opened very strategic routes. For example, the London-India, the India routes. They've been scaling up regional flights, which many Ugandans were asking for, especially like in Kinshasa, as our trade, with Congo increases, or regional, because most of our exports go to, we sell mostly in the region. Most of our exports go to the region. So they've been trying to scale up regional flights. The airline now accounts for, I think, about 40% of air traffic out of Entebbe in just 6 years. So there is definitely a lot of gains to protect with the Uganda Airlines, to use the phrase. Now that is not to discount the inefficiencies that are cropping up, and which Shakir has just acknowledged. And some of the inefficiencies, so of course there are some inefficiencies that the Shakiras can address, but there are also those that are structural or strategic that the government must support the airline to address. I mean, in terms of, for example, the fleet size. I'm told the Uganda Airlines should have increased its fleet in 2 years ago. I do not know whether the Uganda Airlines made that request to Parliament, but at least from my knowledge, I think they did, and the government has not released money to that point to increase the fleet, which explains some of the current inefficiencies. But to just say that business, specifically strategic national assets like the airline, globally, or businesses, let's say just broadly businesses, are very painstaking, very costly enterprises that require long-term investment, while making short-term losses to be able to break even. They require sustained long-term investment.
Okay.
If you look at countries that have successfully run businesses, they have had, and only government can do that. So the problem, and it's understandable, but people want to judge this as a private business. First of all, as a private business, nobody would have sunk in that that money. So only governments can make these long-term investments in strategic sectors of the economy to be able to gain those.
Malcolm, I have an Andrew here saying that's not an excuse to talk about absence of engineers. How come Ethiopian Airlines works? I was there this year for the first time, and they have planes. Both their airports are full of planes. And Harold Kaija is in the studio. You should have seen how he was looking at you, Ivan, when you were making those comments. Go on, Malcolm.
Thank you, Oscar. I once did take a flight on Uganda Airlines. It was certainly delayed by a day. Certainly, yes. That's normal now, and I did at that point decide not to fly Uganda Airlines again.
That's very
again,
mean.
hoping.
I have flown Uganda Airlines many times, and yes, they've.
No, I'm not.
been delays
I'm
from-
not even proud of that
from
decision.
Tanzania.
I'm not proud of that decision. I don't. I wish I didn't have to make that decision.
Have you flown?
But the
Kenya
yes, and I actually fly Kenya Airways a lot more than I fly Uganda Airlines.
But Kenya has more.
Guys, I'm not Kenya Airways' PR, but I'm telling you that the experiences, and the people whose company I keep, we share experiences, and we are in tandem that Uganda Airlines is more problematic than Kenya Airways. The reason being that Kenya Airways has greater options. Now, again, I don't want to compare Uganda Airlines, Kenya Airways, Ethiopian Airlines. Ethiopian has been in service for what? Over 70 years.
Really?
Uganda Airlines is 6. However,
They first sold it, and then
we don't count the earlier iteration. We don't. But for a long time, I was a patron of Air Uganda, which used to carry the Uganda flag as well over Kenya Airways at the time, because of the pride that comes with it. And there was a certain level of efficiency. Yes, there would be challenges, there were delays. They ended their story in such an abrupt manner, and then we thought Uganda Airlines was coming in to really do a bit more of the same, but even better. I do not think that these challenges that are being faced now could not have been anticipated. I think we live in a world where if you take the time to plan and prepare and understand the industry, maybe that wasn't done. We know the challenges that have come around the management of Uganda Airlines, both at the board level, at the management level, the operations level. All those challenges, I think, are manifesting. The problems from those challenges are manifesting now in the way the operations are being managed. The questions about the competence of some of the people there. I honestly don't think that in this day and age you can.
Yeah.
It is possible not to anticipate challenges such as these, and the manufacturers of these.
Shakila warned me that she cannot speak about board or whatever.
I had
concentrate on the flights and everything.
Okay, let's say no, but that
We shall
the
get the
manufacturers
person who can speak about
that the manufacturers would take weeks to be able to fix
It's unimaginable.
It's unimaginable, because an aircraft is not something you can replace. You know, that mechanic of yours in Kajansi, he probably can give you a service car to carry you through the day while he's fixing.
He does.
He does that, but you can't do that for an airline. You can't borrow, my neighbor's car aircraft to get me to from point A to point B. So why is there not a reasonable turnaround time for the manufacturers as far as the repairs are concerned?
Thank you.
And just lastly, I don't know what. Well, when there's a decision made to pick one destination over another. Again, she's tried to share with us how that is made in terms of the financial implications, where you have much earlier bookings and the like. I think that some of these decisions need to be made early enough. One of the things that KQ does that I appreciate is 2 hours before the flight, they will let you know that this flight is delayed. So you can be able to manage.
And sometimes even within the next 2 hours, they tell you that it's going to be delayed further.
For further, yes. And there are struggles all around. But I think that there needs to be a much more critical reflection on how the airline is being run for us to be able to get a better service.
Thank you, Malcolm. Benjamin, and I must apologize to listeners, because as we discuss Uganda Airlines, they're also pointing out that we have been off on Capital Radio Online for 3 weeks now. So please go to Capital FM Uganda on TikTok and Capital FM Uganda on X, formerly Twitter, and you'll be able to follow us well. And also the Capital FM website. Benjamin, someone sent a message on X, formerly Twitter, saying don't justify inefficiency. Is this what we're doing?
And rightly so. No. I think the starting point, Oscar and listeners, is that the strategic importance of having Uganda Airlines, I don't think anybody disputes it. But the point of concern is that strategic as this investment is, it's not being treated with the seriousness that it deserves. Number two is that Uganda Airlines being a state enterprise, operating in a jurisdiction where the state has largely been compromised and is dysfunctional on account of unseriousness and malfeasance of the NRM government. It's not surprising that we are having these problems. You can pick out any other state enterprise or institution and focus the spotlight on it, and you'll have similar results. The only difference is that this Uganda Airlines serves people who speak English like Ivan and Malcolm, and they have platforms on which they can complain. But these are the problems that the ordinary citizens are facing in public hospitals, that are facing in public schools, that are facing with the UEDCL, that are facing with the national water. On a day that you have paid, you have no debt, but water is not running. So these problems go beyond Shakira and the team that she works with. The other related to that is and I'm sure she doesn't want to talk about that, and rightly so, but for us we can talk about it, that this institution or enterprise being so strategic, you would expect that the recruitment and deployment of people to run this institution, both the technical and even the leadership, the board. You remember when Kosase was conducting an investigation on the operations of Uganda Airlines, a lot came to the public domain, and not surprisingly, the speaker even prevented the then chairperson of Kosase, Honorable Joel Senyoni, from tabling the report because of the damning revelations it had made. Now, when you have Parliament, for example, covering up for these problems that are at Uganda Airlines, when you have challenges of patronage, people being appointed not on the basis of their ability to offer strategic leadership to such a strategic entity, then you cannot have different results. And it clearly shows you that these problems are not restricted to the institution that Uganda Airlines is, but they are problems that are coming from Parliament, from Ministry of Finance.
Benjamin, now that you have crushed the gains there,
yes.
So is there hope?
Well, I think the only hope that there can be is to change government and have in place people who are interested in running serious business.
Thank you.
Because
I knew Oscar even knew what the answer would be.
Because Derek, you're on microphone. The reason I interrupted him to ask him, because he had gone into an area that Shakira will not be able to respond to. But so I said, now that you have finished the rant, is there hope? And he has shown that maybe there's no hope.
It's not a rant, it's diagnosis.
From what he has said, maybe there's no hope. Because his suggestion will not come to pass.
No, you see, referring a patient to another doctor is also hope.
Oscar seemed to have waited for that comment, but it wasn't just coming. Then he said, no. I think I would rather rush it. Thank you, Shakira. Shakira here has given me a ticket to Dubai in 2023 to cover COP28 at half price.
That's why the thing is not working. Others are taken for birthday for you are getting free.
and it's I'm proud about it because I was going to do work that exposes Uganda and the goodness that we have in terms of terms of tourism, the opportunities we have, and as a journalist, I feel it is something commendable.
I should tell you, Dave, for me, I've paid. We've also had teachers' trips.
We've
had teachers' trips. We've had student trips. Full price. Student trips.
But you know the things.
And I've only ever been upgraded once. So
Only once.
only once.
No, me, I also got once.
Let's wait for Derek's having received half price.
Yeah.
Let's see the half price.
The gain is from the half price.
So, and I want to borrow the analogy of or the explanation that Benjamin Katana gives, that flogging Uganda Airlines in isolation is missing a very big point. That you look at the entire country and the entire system in the country, and you see the brokenness that it comes with in terms of the health sector, in terms of energy sector, in the education sector and stuff like that. And then
So it is unreasonable for us to expect it to work well.
we would be just it would be just a foolhardy for us to expect that all of a sudden a 6-year-old institution is certainly giving us flowers and stuff like that. And for me, I feel there is every reason for them to be operating the way they are, probably learning even on job, some of them, probably even trying to get the experience and breakthrough. Like we've all diagnosed the problem that this is not Uganda that's suffering the brunt in terms of airlines and stuff like that. But that said, I feel maybe as Uganda we have potential to do better by probably looking at some things. For instance, when it comes to expanding the fleets, I don't know whether we have rushed.
That's for us, for Uganda.
Yeah.
And to stop you here, because I want her to respond, and then we'll have her out of the studio. Let's have Harold Kaija. I guess you are on Benjamin Katana's line. That before we need change of government is the solution.
Thank you so much. I listen to her. Sometimes when somebody is speaking for public entities, you feel sorry for them. You hardly find one who speaks a lot of pride. Every time they're on the defensive. That tells you, see, one day I went to this Kampala hospital, and one of our colleagues was sick then. Then I found Dr. Olive Kobusinje getting out. So I asked her, how is counsel? Said he's facing a situation of organ failure. Then I didn't know what that meant. I said, oh, fine. Then I got it. So looking at the patient was like, the machines were, so in a few minutes, the guy was gone. So I find her in the evening. Doctor, what did you mean by my organ failure? Said the lungs are stopped, the breath are stopped. Actually, the person is clinically dead.
I'm not sure I like your examples now.
No, you see, when you look at Uganda Airlines, I must tell Ugandans, bring back Uganda Airlines was more political than strategic or the economics in it. Like UPE, one time one of the ministers then who was actually handling UPE said, you see, politically, UPE is a success. But when you go in terms of education, it's right there and you really don't feel it. So whenever I read about Uganda Airlines, you hardly find the success stories. And a country like ours, I think it came at the wrong time, when everything was in tatters. You see, when you always put a spot on a government for selling Uganda Airlines, which was actually built by the man who was called the old source of name buffoons, and then you say, those who have gone to school did not find any kind of use in the Ghana Airlines. They said, no, let's bring it back. And they brought it back. But when you look at these management issues, Every time they talk about their salaries, now here no engineers. At every time you hear about Uganda Airlines in the papers, you do not hear a story. Actually, if those Airbuses were constructed in Uganda or built in Uganda, I hardly believe that even any of us would want to fly it. But the only consolation that is that, these buses come from are constructed in Europe, and now the manager, they don't go bad. So that is what gives you some kind of consolation. But otherwise, so I even want to understand the word strategic in the Ugandan sense.
Okay. That's why I said I did not like it. I'm going to stop you there, Harold, so that we get Shakira back to you. I'm not so sure what you're going to answer. But someone here, JB says, Oscar, Uganda Airlines was going to be a problem from day one in a very high cost sector. Its continued operation will only be possible through funding by the taxpayer. Consolidated fund is not working. So, I don't know, comment from what you like here, but the real embarrassment we have is the longer that plane is in Nigeria, that is an Africa-wide embarrassment. And that one is in your docket to speak about.
I think it's not true that I said we don't have no engineers. We have engineers who have been
certified
and working even for other legacies carriers. I mean, so they've come back home and they're Ugandans to support the operation. So I think that one really it should be in good faith that we have experienced engineers, because the regulator cannot give you for a license. It has to license your maintenance unit, really. So I think it's not true that we don't have engineers. We have engineers. Right. So why the aircraft is stuck in Lagos is because we are waiting for a particular part from the manufacturer.
And how long will that take?
We await.
Oh, and the passengers in Lagos and wherever?
They have been reprotected. I earlier said that one of the measures we are taking is to reprotect, rebook passengers. So we have we relieved them and also put them onto other carriers to be able to go wherever they are supposed to go.
Have you gone to Parliament? This is a national symbol. People are taking photographs of our stranded airplane. Have you gone to Parliament and said, guys, we need money urgently?
Yeah, we've not gone to Parliament, but we have shareholders, and that is a Ministry of Works.
Ivan. You have shareholders, that is Ivan here.
Yes, we have shareholders. And that is being handled, and it's not even right now a money issue. It's a part issue, because of the aircraft type. So that one we're handling, and we are making headways. But then also maybe I'll not speak so much into why the airline is how can I say that there were so many issues raised, but I'll just stick to the facts here. I will still say that the airline is still a viable project, and from my side here I look at an operation that operates 25 flights a day. So you have every 2 hours you have an aircraft landing and taking off. We are the biggest operator. 40% of market share out of Entebbe. So with that, to me, I still see the airline as a viable project. Because look at the airport. That expansion of that airport is because of Uganda Airlines. Because at one point, the transits have to be able to be sustained into that airport. So we cannot wait. For us is to try and manage these disruptions, to try and settle our guests in the best possible way we can, and also to ensure that the government supports us into acquiring fleet, but also we are into a bridging phase, and government has accepted to bridge the phase as we await the fleet that has been that we are going to have. So that bridging phase is that we are going to lease aircraft to be able to support the CRJ, but also the Airbus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just a final one from David Mbabazi on X, formerly Twitter, says, to Shakira, does Uganda Airlines benchmark with other regional airlines? Have you benchmarked with Ethiopian Airlines? Have you been to their airport?
Yes, we have.
And
We've benchmarked globally, actually,
right.
even to the Americas, Europe. We have partnerships.
Okay.
Yes, and
as a PRO, would you imagine BBC, not BBC, the British Airlines, would they say we have a part missing, so this plane will not fly for a week?
Because you see, globally, airlines are not supposed to say these things, but I am here because I have to say something. Because
there has been a problem.
Because it is, for example, the airline is in the spotlight, and because Ugandans are passionate about the airline, they demand answers. But the airline industry is very sensitive. No one walks around saying that I need a party and no.
It's a market.
You see that? Yes,
yeah.
Like you said, Kamiofu.
So.
No one, because it's sensitive.
So thank you so much, Shakila Rahim.
Yeah.
We will invite the ED herself soon to answer some of the points mentioned here, and we shall not invite Kaija here because his examples have been very scary. Thank you. No, we'll include it in the next one. So thank you very much. We'll let you go and move to our main topic of the day, and we'll finish off with elections. But you can give us an update, Harold Kaija. Where are you standing in this election, and what hope do you have? The topics for today are the good and bad of 2025. So, but you start with yourself, and then you tell us what's your good of 2025, and what's your not so good of 2025.
Thank you so much. You know, we started on a very serious note, the issue of this airline.
Are you saying that your campaign is not serious?
No. What I'm saying, you see,
we started on a serious note.
the word stuck. You know, I worked in Moroto during the times of the rain. The word stuck was always common on those roads. We are stuck. So I was imagining an airplane stuck somewhere. And bystanders say, well, what's happening here? Yeah, I'm running a campaign in Nansana municipality, a constituency that was given municipality status. But when you pass around, it does not pass as a municipality.
Go on.
Yes.
Your own microphone.
Yes. So you find that the infrastructure that constitutes what we call a municipality are non-existent in Nansana. You hardly find roads that would call a road for a municipality. You'd hardly find water. You know, in many places, residents compete with animals for water in a municipality.
This is in Nansana?
Nansana. Go to Sukuma, go to Gombe, even as near as Nabweru. The issue of water, the issue of electricity.
Oh, that one is.
Then you bring the issue of
Chigo. We have a lake in front of us.
Exactly,
and no water.
And I think that's the reason why you always hear these girls from Nigeria trying to tease the guys from Nansana that you can. I find them on TikTok. But if you're a guy coming from Nansana, don't tell me anything. So when
I hope you do know that I'm from Nigeria.
I know your boys. And Nansana has a population of 700,000 people. On its budget, government only contributes 7 billion. When you compare it with a district like Bulisa, and you find this budget of 14,000 people, you find government sends there about 90 billion Uganda shillings. I was looking at the budget of Tororo with a population of 630,000 people. government giving them about 57 billion. Tororo has 7 MPs. Nasan of 700,000 people has 1 MP. We only have 5 schools of government, yet Tororo has 15 secondary schools.
So Kaija did not, Harold Kaija did not want you to campaign. I wanted you to.
No, I'm telling you the status, the diagnosis of the place where I am. I am not campaigning
because now
I don't say I have schools.
Now I may have to invite your opponents to come.
No, I'm not campaigning. I'm not saying I'm doing this. But I'm just showing you.
No, hold on. I wanted you to give us an update of your own. How are you doing? Has your rally been blocked? And you have another DC seated right next to you. So are you doing well? That's his. And if I had known, I would have prepared for it. So yes, the campaigns. Well? Yeah, the campaigns are going on well. We are moving around the parishes. Today I was supposed to go to some parish called Wamala, but I won't be going there. Okay. A colleague of ours lost a mother-in-law who was knocked by a speeding drone at Nansana. So barriers this evening. You cannot go and campaign when a colleague is mourning. But you see, as I've told you, it's a very vast territory. Crisscrossing it is very expensive. The road network connecting it. Every time you see vehicles breaking down, the mud. When it rains, you have the mud. When it shines, actually the border guys call it powder. The dust they call it powder. So that's how we are moving, but we are trying to do our best to make sure that we are getting to the people, speak to them, engage them. So now that you're on microphone, what's your good for 2025? What's your bad for 2025?
My good of 2025 was the January 31st ruling, Supreme Court ruling, that packed the General Court Martial. That was my best.
So you're going to say your worst was when?
Of course,
bring it back.
Bring it back, and the death of one of our colleagues. Garuga Msingus, that will stuck us hard. I must tell you.
Okay.
And those are my key highlights.
Right. In the studio we have Mr. Fred Bamwine. You're most welcome to Gang. Yes. Welcome to the Capital Gang. Chief RDC. I'm not so sure of what kind of words Benjamin will use, but at least you are going to be facing each other. And I am pleased at least you had a handshake between yourselves. Good. You said that off air, pardon?
No, it's gonna be
we missed that one?
I respect and admire him as a farmer, not as RDC, because he's a very good dairy farmer. If you have
presumably, he doesn't beat his cows.
He probably does.
How did he learn the beating? He learned from the cow.
Thank you so much, Oscar. Good morning, viewers and listeners of Capital FM and the Capital Gang. I'm happy to be here with most of the people whom I know.
Yeah.
To the gang. It is true.
Hold on. We'll get to you. Let people comment. So, Ivan, good and bad of 2025?
I think that I think the bad of 2025 has been, you could say, the retreat of international actors in terms of, for example, the shutting down of, you said global development partnership. I know that there's the attempts to recalibrate and realign now, from the NGOs to governments and all. But first, there was a massive shock that led to shook up so many things, because especially I think for the sub-Saharan Africa and the development world, a lot of that development partnership has been very integral to the management of affairs, for example, from health to education to many other public and social services. PEPFAR, for example, was the game changer in terms of our global AIDS response, and I know that it's not been broadly disrupted specifically PEPFAR, but the broader health partnership initially for the better part of the year was had been suspended because it was being primarily led by USAID, and now there is a new partnership that is being projected. We'll see how it pans out, but for me that was broadly the bad of because for a long time the international global order was responsible for how our doing things. I think the good of 2025 is that broadly
on that one, is it going to improve, or
I think there are signs. The jury is still out there for the new, for example, the health partnership that the US, for example, recently signed with with Uganda. I know that but it's still out there. The jury is still out there because the initial was first shut down, then re-emerge, and see how it how it plays out. So I want to be optimistic that it will things will fall back into place and recover. I think that for the good, unlike the doomsday picture that's being painted by Harold and Benjamin, is that we have had a fairly robust
patient who is in ICU.
Yeah, a resilient economy, despite many of those shocks. I think Uganda has had record-beating inflation. I think post-COVID, I think in the macroeconomic indicators, Uganda has been doing outstandingly, actually, compared to the region. Very low inflation. We have increasing forex revenue, increasing coffee exports, gold, which have been largely responsible for the increasing forex and the declining like the exchange rate between the dollar and the shilling, which has maintained our economy as fairly robust and competitive. So that has broadly insulated the Ugandan economy from the global macroeconomic uncertainty that's been.
I have even been advising people to pay like on Visa, pay with Uganda shillings.
Yeah.
Because these days the Uganda shilling is strong.
It's doing really competitive, and that is only because
we should get one to Malcolm when he's next going to
buy snow
shopping.
Going to go snow shopping, and I think we are also seeing some gains from our sustained investment in industrialization, manufacturing. Recently I saw reports that Chira EV had signed contract from its roadshow in South Africa, about 450 buses that is going to be selling to to South Africa. So so I think that economic wise the country has been doing really robustly and competitively. The money might not be here, like Kasaija said, but I think it's coming. Like he said, I want to Ryoko Kasaija that the money will get.
And I don't know about his SWI, but
but we are on a good trajectory.
So we're going to stop for a break, and I did apologize to listeners. You can follow us on Capital FM Uganda TikTok, Capital FM Uganda on X, formerly Twitter. Let's stop for a quick break. Welcome back from the break. This is the Capital FM. At this moment in time, we are looking at the good and bad of 2025. In the break, people made unsavory comments on RDCs in Uganda, but we have an RDC in the studio who will speak for himself. So, Derek, good and bad of 2025.
I'll start with the good, and it's a personal thing, and especially for the profession. This year,
I saw you being beaten up in Kawempe,
so that one is good. That one is the bad. Let me begin with the good.
Right.
This year, I have had a chance to get on very big tables across the world, really, to represent my profession and speaking about
even Capital Gang.
Yeah, even
it's a very big table.
Yeah, it is in an this year has been
gone.
I'll thank Patricia later. This year, I've been to many countries, really speaking and shedding the picture of what Ugandan journalism is and the kind of the peril that we go through, and just making sure that there are people out there who would like to hear our story, who would like to empathize with us is very important. That they give us a platform to speak for ourselves is something that has been very important for me. And the mere fact that I've been always handpicked to go to wherever, the US and whatever, to go just speak to.
And the bad?
It has been very, very pivotal. For me, the bad is the election. The election we are in now, the election in Kawempe, it comes as a nightmare. It brings the dying image of what we went through in 2021, and as journalists, but also as Ugandans in at large, we cringe and we feel so bad. And maybe we will speak to this, but the comments that have been coming through from the president lately can even make you even feel Uganda is not the best. Yeah.
Fred Bamwine is in the studio. How can he improve the election so it moves from bad to good?
He knows he can't, but he will say that he can, by the way.
Yeah.
But he knows that as a person, he can't.
Benjamin Katana, good and bad of 2025. Well, you have a bad, someone shoved a gun into your tummy. Surely that's a bad.
I normally don't want to concentrate so much on self because I know that I'm just part of a bigger equation, the community of Uganda, and I know that many have endured more than that. We just received back a young man who was abducted a few days ago, the personal assistant of the Honorable Narukola, and he was subjected to a lot of inhuman treatment, including sexual molestation.
A man?
Yes. Yeah. So if you are talking about a person who got a gun butt, that is compared to that. So in Uganda, the good really has been limited. I can only remember the Supreme Court ruling on the trial of civilians in the military courts, but of course it has been short-lived. Yeah, again, Parliament has taken us back to where we were before the ruling. Our sportsmen and women have also done wonderful things on the global stage, and I think that is something to celebrate.
Some gains.
Yes, the bad things really have been very many. The enforced disappearances have continued. We are still looking for some Mugumya. The manner in which Dr. Besigye was arrested from Kenya. I know that was last year, but he still remains in detention.
More than a year.
More than a year now.
The Kenyans that were returned.
Yeah, the Kenyans that were returned, and you see not even just the return, but the growing trends of state-inspired violence, that you hold people for a number of days and without any charge, you hold them incommunicado, and the head of state comes out and says we have been keeping them in fridge. So if you recall the history of Uganda, you see that really we are in a bad place, that people can still be victims of enforced disappearances, that you have people being held without trial. Of course, also, there are many missed opportunities. You saw the other day, because what happens in Congo affects what happens in Uganda. The other day there was the Washington Peace Accord, and the day after, the guns were up.
Yeah.
In Sudan, there are fascist siege, and hundreds of people that it left dead. Some of the refugees are in Uganda. So there seem to be bad things both at home and in the region. Of course, he has talked about the decisions in Washington that have had the ripple effect across the globe. We have very many people who have been rendered unemployed on account of the decisions, the executive orders of the president of the US. So there are so many things that have happened, I think, which have changed the course of history.
Harold Kaija, good and bad of 20. Oh no, you did. I did. Malcolm, good and bad of.
Yes.
On my village group in Chigo, the regular complaint is lack of water, And now the service providers of National Water, they no longer respond. The lake is in front of us and we have no water. But UEDCL people respond. They say, so sorry, there's an outage.
They are still fresh on the job.
Like on Thursday they said. On Thursday they told us. No, not really.
There was a time.
On Thursday they said electricity will be back at 6:30. And people were waiting 6:29, and eventually it came back at 7:20. So we are happy that they respond, and
they're only 40 minutes late.
Yeah.
No, even National Water used to be very responsive at one point in time. I think I joined many of the gangsters of the day in citing those laws. Really.
Let me tell Fred Bamwine here. We have Star Cafe goodies. This is an area you don't have to come with your chapati in the pocket. Feel free to partake. Ivan has
he started with the yellow bananas.
Ivan played his part. How many samosas has he had so far?
Fred started with the yellow bananas.
Okay.
I think the other yellow things are also going to be consumed soon. Yeah. On a more international scene, I think just joining what Ivan was saying about the slow death of globalization, well, hyper globalization as we had known it for long, the end of Pax Americana, which sees us, sees different power structures being emerging, and how that disorganizes the international order. In many ways, it could be the heralding of a new era, which might be a better era for Africa, certainly possibly being the frontier continent. But in the short term, it feels like we are on the losing end of all of this. Ivan did talk about that new I think $2.3 billion agreement between the U.S. for health between the U.S. and the Ugandan government. The Ugandan government has been very good at signing. They're supposed to inject, I think, about additional $500 million in 5 years into the health sector. The health sector, which already its financial commitments are not being met. The financial commitments that the government of Uganda made previously are not being met, but they're busy signing additional commitments. We wait to see again where that comes to pass. I think most of all the nakedness of the emperor, I think, is what really grips me for 2025. Every other day that has passed, that nakedness has become more and more real. You can't even lie to the emperor that they are clothed anymore. From the military justice for political opponents to the admission of holding people in basements, and it becomes a joke and becomes normalized, and it becomes part of our slang that you go to the basement, that normalizing of inhumanity is really something that I think we need to check ourselves as Ugandans about. From whichever political divide you stand on, we need to be able to be partisan about what is right and what is wrong, irrespective of whether it is yellow, it is red, it is blue. That is something that I had heard about in previous from my elders. It was something I never thought I would experience in my lifetime, but it is here, and like I think Benjamin said, or I think it was Derek, that it looks like it's going to get worse before it gets better. The highs, yes, I do congratulate the under-17 team that went to the World Cup, our first participation in the FIFA World Cup. That is definitely exciting for the sports lovers, and I think from an interesting perspective, the publishing of the National Development Plan 4, I continue to applaud Uganda's ability to plan, to prepare. If we got anywhere close to executing the plans that we put on paper, we would be a very, very different country. If we respected those plans, if we went back to look at them. So when you look at the NDP4, it says very glorious things, and you would want to be in Uganda with the implementation of NDP4. As to whether what is in there will actually come to pass, I guess time will tell.
So, Mr. Fred Bamwine, you're on microphone now, beginning with your good and bad of 2025. At the half-hour mark, we'll go to the politics.
Thank you so much. I think for me, I will start with the bad of the year is to have to expect democracy where there are no Democrats in a country, and find very different political actors.
You're talking about America, Uganda?
I'm talking about Uganda.
Okay.
Where people want to believe that they are in democracy when themselves are not democratic. So that's one of the bad events I've witnessed in this year, because it's a political season.
Do you want to say a little bit more about that? Because it's very cryptic.
No, I've said political actors in the country
are not democratic.
They are not democratic, and they believe in democracy. They tell us they believe in democracy when they are not democratic, and across board. When you look into different political parties, what is happening there, I think politically it's a disaster. Two, the bad of the year I've seen across the globe is the impunity within the Gaza Strip, whereby people are killed like cockroaches, and the world is happy, is watching.
It's moving on.
It's moving on as if nothing is happening really. And others come and said, yes, we have finished them. And then a small country like Uganda say, you must do this. So the double standard, but more so on the mass killing. When we have an organization called the UN, and it cannot raise its hand to say this must stop. It's one of the situations that I feel that people living on the planet now, we have not done our worth.
You make a good point. In Uganda, because of social media and everything, someone can record a Bamwine on a video. But in Gaza, you cannot. There's no journalists allowed to go there.
Yes, and life is normal globally. But here in Uganda, they say you must do this. It's like the other one. Is it in the Bible? You are told, you do what as I say, not as I do. So that kind of impunity, I think, it sends...
But some of us like it when you say in Uganda, do this, that at least let us be okay.
We're not in competition for doing
No, we're not in competition for doing bad things. Hey, in Uganda, you say, don't beat people. It's okay.
Then too, I think the bad I've seen is the inactiveness of the African Union. To begin with, I'm a Pan-Africanist. Pan-Africanist, proper one. And I have named my children. One is called Shaka, another one is called Kabarega, another one is called Mwanga. And I did it deliberately. Because those personalities were not even in nursery school dropouts, but they managed to know that the imperialists were bad, and they tried to use their arrows and spears to challenge them until they were let down by fellow Africans. But these days you find somebody with masters or PhD, then when he sees a white, he starts trembling. And you ask yourself, is it because of the food we eat? What is it? So to me, the inactiveness of the African Union by now, we should have upgraded the African Union even to have a stand-by force. Because having an organization of that nature, dating back 1962 to date, We have not yet raised the stand by force, and everybody can always come and stamp on us and go away. I think it's one of the issues the year has not yet clearly pronounced.
I think they said something about Tanzania, didn't they? Derek, you are there.
So what does saying mean? What does it mean?
It was African Union. And Sadak also said something.
So to me,
it is not enough to say.
So to me, really, I feel they have a debt to. We have a debt to clear. All of us, by the way. Then the good of the year. One, of course, was general sports. Generally, netball, football, generally. On the global stage, we are putting our foot there. I think that one, unfortunately, sports unites all of us. So we have managed to do better.
Did you say unfortunately?
Fortunately. But then the other part of the bad one, I have not mentioned about the financial involvement in the politics of the country. It's really absurd.
Your Katana is the treasurer of NUP.
It's absurd that nobody in this.
The treasurer of NUP.
Yes, it's absurd. You see, I grew up following the political activities in the country. I saw the elections of NRC. People could go to a county, line behind different candidates, 10 of them. One wins, and everybody goes home without any petition. Not even a soda. Even when you came to NRC in Parliament, the amount of money that they were being paid, members of Parliament, they were being paid. But when you look at what is happening, Kaija may not tell you he's a candidate now. Yeah. He's the one who knows what is happening to him. Yeah. You reach at every trading center, you know, then you start speaking. Then you start speaking. They say, this man is actually a good debater. He's good in parliament, but he doesn't end well.
They even say that they are frauds.
They start.
Yet it's useful.
So really.
They say their throats are dry.
Yes.
And yet it is But that commercialization started with the NRM primary.
No, I think Oscar.
And was, I'm talking about this season.
Aren't you going to get it wrong? Because I'm talking about commercialization of politics in Uganda. Whether NRM anywhere.
I just wanted to point out that even in that commercialization, they are buying the wrong things. Can you imagine buying Waraji?
Yeah, Waraji was.
You know that this now without Waraji and ganja drugs. You can't be a popular candidate.
An aspiring candidate can supply ganja?
Yes, if you are to be
aspiring candidate.
Yes, you see me. All my lifetime, 90% of my practical life has been in the community.
Ivan,
if you cannot supply ganja and waraj, you will not be a popular candidate.
Really?
And unfortunately, which I challenge in democracy, a vote for a drunkard and a vote for a bishop, they have the same weight.
Yeah.
When the bishop, his vote is the same as a drunkard, and that's democracy. Really, you ask yourself, where are we heading as a country? So really, the obscene of money in politics now, I think it's something that disgusts me, and not until we sober up. Leave alone partisan. It's across board. All parties have the same problem, and the voters are ready saying, ours you must give it from here. Because they think where they have gone, they are also going to a mass. So it's a very dangerous situation. Now the good thing of the year, the executive order of Trump. You know, I'm a student of international relations. And in international relations, we say whether international law is law. So me, I'm happy with the executive orders of Trump, which has resulted into saying money for Americans is for America. Now, we have been having money here that destabilizes Africa, coming in these different disguises. So when the tap was closed, you can even witness what is taking place. If money for homosexuals, money for what, it has been coming. So this
you would say those are small things. Ivan has already pointed out the problem of things like PEPFAR.
Yeah, because actually,
but you see, why I'm happy about it. Why I'm happy about it is very simple.
I'm also saying you're happy about small
yes,
things.
Yes, it is also wrong. It is also wrong to be a family head, and then you think, that your survival as a family will depend on the neighbor.
That one is correct.
So it is a wake-up call. Why do you exist as a human being? So let them go, and then you plan how to live accordingly.
But me, I don't want you to forget that you are the RDC.
What's wrong with
RDC for hospitals.
What's wrong with that? And I'm trying to say, do you know that 80% of the diseases can be stopped through public health, education? But now we are turning even human beings as to consume drugs as if it is food.
But also the medicine.
So once the medicine has not come, now you start asking yourself, how do you think outside the box? How do you survive in this environment? Otherwise, this business of Oscar and others to live in a comfort zone, depending on that money from the whites, I don't support it, and I'm happy that it has happened. Now people should think how they can live. They can run their families. You don't depend on your neighbor to fund your activities. So it's one of the things good thing that has happened. Then, of course, I have mentioned that the bad thing also is politicians in Uganda who talk about democracy and they are not democratic themselves. And that one is also a huge matter. They don't want to take responsibility.
That's the good thing.
Yes, it's a bad one. It's a bad one because any leadership at any level, I expect everybody to be responsible. But if somebody speaks recklessly, doesn't mind as if he's a rebel, rebels come and attack and go. Whether people have died, whether they are injured, they don't mind. So really, it's a huge. If you are a leader of any caliber, you have people who are following you. Are you cautious of the words that come out of you? Does that promote the country? Does that bring goodness? Does that promote? So to me, across board, if you're involved in politics, it's high time. Maybe you say I'm a good person in the wrong place. Then the last one is on the question of the bad ones. Some of the acts some government officers do to find a government person maybe is involved in corruption. To find a government person has his mandate, he goes beyond, and he thinks he's doing how do you call it? He's doing charity. No, government officers are not doing charity. They are paid to do a specific job. So when you go overboard, then you have disappointed your employer, who is the population. So those are the issues I wanted to bring out.
Well spoken. Benjamin, you could lead us into the next topic, election updates. You've heard from a government man who's saying do not do misconduct simply because you're a government person. Does he live to it?
Well, I don't want to analyze the RDC himself, but the government that he serves. Because government, unlike citizens, has the tools to make sure that good is done and bad is punished. So the duty and responsibility of government, for example, we are now in an election period. We have seen misconduct, especially by people that are employed to serve the state and the people of Uganda. You saw in Guru soldiers clobbering citizens with sticks You have seen people being shot in Iganga. You gave an example of where I was beaten myself, and others have given you an example of what happened to the young man 2 days ago who was dropped last night. But all we see from the government side, for people who try to appear decent, is to say this should be condemned. But government has powers not to just condemn. And the fact that nobody is held to account shows that these actions are sanctioned. The history of Uganda has been largely characterized by state-inspired violence, where the state infrastructure, the army, police, public service are weaponized by those with power against the citizens of Uganda. And when the people of Uganda came together to make a constitution that later came to be known as the 1995 constitution, to create safeguards within that constitution against overbearing conduct that borders on criminality of people that run the state infrastructure, that is the history that guided the thinking process. That's why the framers of the constitution said the army should not be involved in politics. The civil servants should not be involved in politics at a partisan level. But what we see today is different. And now, on account of especially longevity in power of the NRM candidate Museveni, he has become the state and the state has become Museveni. When you are contesting against him, you are identified and treated as an enemy of the state. But for the Bamwinas to be able to do it without offending their colleagues who still have some level of patriotism, they must win public support. And how do they win public support for their violence and partisan conduct? They must frame the opponents of the incumbent as people that are planning to disrupt peace, as people that have criminal intent, and deal with them as such. So the violence that we are witnessing in these campaigns, which is unfortunate, which is very dangerous for our country today and tomorrow, is not accidental, is not a case of errant officers, but it is a case of grand strategy by the NRM candidate to retain power to whatever means, even if it means going down with the country. Okay. The other very important thing that needs to...
let's stop for a break and then we'll squeeze in now. I'll give you a minute and then we go to Derek here, who is a journalist. Welcome back from the break. Great discussion. But yes...
Oscar and
in a minute.
Is not a partisan one. That in Uganda we seem to be having two sides that are greatly opposed to each other. They don't belong to a specific party, especially on the opposing side. These are people in very big numbers, young, who have lost hope because they feel they are not part of the equation called Uganda. And they are determined to die fighting to be part of this equation. Now, on the other side, especially in the NRM, and not all of them, there's also a small group of extremists who think that they can retain power and dominance over the big group using coercion. Now, how these groups will meet and what will happen when these groups meet, not in an election, I think it is something that should bother everyone.
The NRM has set up a committee to bring back the love. I don't know if they'll reach out to you NUP people but, to heal division.
No, but you see that's the challenge. The committee may not include those that the committee may lack the influence to influence those that have power and think they can use coercion to maintain the dominion.
Derek, Kaija, Katana, when you give him a microphone, Ivan here, you they are part campaign, part you don't know what they are, yeah. But you give us so what's happened in the week? We've had two shows. We had Afande Kaima here and we told him stop brutalizing people. Then we followed it by a week. Do you think this is happening? They've stopped?
No, I think they haven't stopped. And like I said last week...
They haven't stopped where? Because I'm asking you now as a journalist.
Yeah, like I said last week, that certain districts are going to portray a very huge understanding of what command is in terms of commanding peace and making sure that that the campaigns are happening in a peaceful way. For instance, when you go to places like Ngora, where the Honorable Chagulanyi was, he was so much stopped and blocked from entering Soroti and Kabera Maido, but certain places have been quite peaceful, including when you look at the other candidates like the Munyagwas have not faced a lot of brutality. I don't think I have seen or written a story about the General Mugisha Muntu going through a lot of brutality, but the brutality has been so much on the NUP candidate. But I also want to speak about the NRM candidate, who is President Museveni. Overly peaceful, with pockets of youth saying they have been abducted into one place of a rally. You can't get out, and you have to be there from morning up to evening with a bottle of water.
I've seen he has large rallies.
A
lot of people.
But
come
also
there
and they can't leave.
You have to remember, he's still a president. So
Absolutely.
When you have a president, there are protections that come with the president.
Absolutely, and I do recognize that. But for me, it's about what is hitting me hard is his tone of speech now. It is very scary now that you are out there asking for votes from Ugandans, and you're telling them to do the math. That a soldier has 120 bullets, and the population is 40 million. So you do the math versus the number of soldiers we have in the country, maybe 54,000 or something like that.
He has said
that? Yes. He has said it, and Daily Monitor led with it. We led with it last week on Wednesday. But for me, again, that might not even be the problem. Now, he touched somewhere, I feel it touches me as a person. He says he's very happy that his soldiers, some of his soldiers and police officers still sleep in Busisira, and he says they are happy. I want to tell you that they are not happy. I'm a child of a police officer. I grew up in the barracks all my childhood life. And I know what it means sleeping in a place where your father and mother are dividing where you sleep by just a curtain, and you don't know how much of an
those hot and
is.
cold cabins.
Yes, and I'm very surprised that President Museveni is very happy that those men, uniformed men, are going through that kind of life, and he thinks that they're happy. To be honest, that was a very low one, because for me it touches me as a person. You literally struggle to sleep. You get in such a family. My father was lucky that he was a high-ranking officer, so we had 2 rooms at least. But there are very many officers that he is talking about who are sleeping in Busisira, and they have very big families, 6-7 kids in the same house plus the father and mother. And he says that these people, no, they are not happy. And I don't think that Ugandans are going to take this lightly.
I have a friend who asserts that, someone was asking, why are they so angry? And then he said, look at their conditions.
Absolutely, absolutely. Go to Nsambia barracks here, where I partly grew up from. The dilapidation in the places where they
sleep. You need a certain anger to beat Ugandans with those big sticks.
You get when you get that anger. Now that they cannot beat the president who is putting them into that position, they are going to beat us Ugandans.
Ivan, you are going to beat up Ugandans. Derek said all these things looking at you. And you never condemn them. That's
Derek
the issue.
knows that I do not have power over these decisions, so he cannot have been looking at me.
At most you can condemn them. Though Fred Wamwine says that is just talking.
Yeah, I mean, I was one of the people who were pleasantly surprised and optimistic at the start of the campaign, because for the first 2 months of the campaign,
which was peaceful,
we had such a peaceful election season that it was almost boring, as you have seen.
And some people assert that when you people looked at the NUP numbers, that's when you unleashed the beating.
I don't think so, and I want to contextualize that.
Okay.
This. I think that sadly there is no country that can escape its history. or its culture or its social culture. You know, we usually treat the symptoms or analyze these symptoms of violence and what. But look at Uganda's political culture. Really, Uganda's political culture has been a militant, violent political culture way back from independence, from post-colonial, from pre-colonial times through the early post-independence years. We have never had a purely civilian, government where the military has not played a key role, in the politics, in moderating the politics. And some people have written about this warrior culture. And this culture is not only state, it's not an exclusive function of the state. It also it has the incentive from the social culture, the social value systems that exist in the country. So I want to argue that this is a self-reinforcing culture. Both from that, there is a reason why, when Bobby Wine first stood out for president, he emerged with a military red beret, not a military but a red beret. Yeah. I want to consider that it was not a military but a red beret. There is a reason you have our music. You have people who brand themselves as generals, General Megadid, AK-47, Saba. You have this entire militaristic, machismo sort of paraphernalia that dots our everyday social system or social culture as a people. There is a reason you have in Kaija's party, before the break between ANT and the FDC, you had a debate between the radicals and the moderates, and the radicals edging out the moderates in the management of the of the party. There is a reason why people say General Mugisha Muntu is a good candidate that Uganda would have, but he's not. We will not support him because he's not confrontational. He's not the sort of who riles up, sort of galvanizes public through this sort of machoist, sort of aggressive, combative, confrontational approach to the to the politics. So if you step away from the symptoms that we see,
but
you
I
realize that you have a
you
social
on that
culture.
one of the reasons we like General Museveni, because he's all those things.
Exactly.
Confrontational.
Absolutely.
Aggressive.
Absolutely. And he revels in that identity.
Yes.
He's a student. He was a student of Frantz Fanon, and how violence is emancipatory, how it emancipates, emancipates a person. And what you actually are seeing now is the contest on who monopolizes violence, or who monopolizes, who has also power. When the Bobby Wines, tried to show that these pictures of a brigade of people being, trained, and the state went hard on them, and why they banned these red berets and, calling them military assets and things like that. It is a contest on who will monopolize, or who has monopoly over violence and the instruments of violence. But there is, on the counter side, that is also a reason why the most successful people, opposition leaders on the other side, have been the combative, the confrontational, the matches. Kizza Besigye, now you have Bob Wine. There is a reason you have all the moderates. The only other moderate who has tried to emerge has not gained traction. So I think as a people, we must also do some bit of self-introspection. Why is it that when we had a peaceful first 2 months, we thought the elections were boring? Why is it that musicians to be outstanding have to dress in military gear, in sort of fatigues, and to appeal to that sort of social,
but we liked the boring. We were not unhappy.
I don't. But you've heard quotes about but there is something charismatic, weirdly charismatic about this machismo sort of mobilization and political campaigning and all of that, and unfortunately it brings us this sort of culture, and there is a reason why like you said, President Museveni branded himself. Why we welcomed the Bakombozi in 1979, why we welcomed the Musevenis in 1986, because they were liberators, and Museveni has always campaigned to say the fruit of that violence of that military is the peace.
Because we don't have a lot of time. So what are you saying? That there's no hope for us? So
what I'm saying is that this is beyond a state policy instrument. You can have Museveni out of here and you have somebody, but if we don't, as a people, I think we need some sort of social re-engineering, or sort of to be able to reform that.
I will challenge you outside the studio, Ivan.
Yes.
You're a young father. Do you go around beating your children at home?
No.
Because we have a culture of beating.
No. What I am saying is that
in your home you say, you stop them from.
I do not want to personalize this, but
I also don't want to personalize,
but you know, there is a reason why.
And you're teaching them to be
Benjamin, you know that historically, many of us
we have Ivan on micro.
we children of boarding products of boarding schools. You know, corporal punishment. It is just very recent that people have started criticizing corporal punishment or beating.
But it is illegal in this country.
But you know, all of us were raised on those things, and we used to think that
not all of us.
Okay, many of us, people who grow up, many of us who grow up, especially from rural schools, boarding schools, and what they said.
But when they're saying me, and I'm saying that's why you are this is beat people.
The statement that spare the rod and you will spoil the child basically stems from that sort of culture.
Let's go to Malcolm.
So as a people, we really need to do some self-introspection and realize that what we see in Kenya, like ideal, a civilian president, somebody who has not have a military background, so that politics don't have to be fought on the streets, or we don't have to be. We really need to do some self-introspection. Leaders
Malcolm,
also respond to the incentive structure.
Thank you, Ivan. Malcolm, I sometimes wonder why NRM does not give intellectuals like this man here the flag, you know, because he doesn't have a constituency.
That is the problem.
That is the problem because
if we are going here now, the people who are there will be struggling to write their names on the attendance list.
He even knows how to divert a
discussion.
And within
now we are discussing spare the road and spoil the child
instead of happenings of
Oscar, for some of us who
just to go back to the
yes.
This week, Mr. Bamwina, you need these people. How did we end up discussing the Bible? but Malcolm, you're one of I think 3 lawyers in the studio. How did we end up discussing that you cannot remain at the polling station, go back home? What does the law say?
Oscar, I'd like to dovetail into that.
Okay.
Just piggybacking on what Ivan was saying. Thank you very much. So when Ivan talks about the political culture, the social culture that we have, and how it's influenced by politics, when you have the NRM that has monopolized 70% of the political history of this country, then inevitably NRM has imprinted on the social culture that we have. So when you talk about the militarism that is exciting the population, it actually implies that the NRM has been instrumental in ensuring that is what is ingrained. That when the NRM as well looks at a political process that is moving on smoothly, its political culture is how do we militarize that? How do we bring violence into that so that we can be able to demonstrate our level of and I think Ben said the idea of saying we should condemn this a policeman jumping on someone's head and others whipping the others like their cows. I don't think condemnation is enough. It is nothing. So I think even when you attempt to explain it, then you begin to bastardize the conversation. I think it should just be clear that should not happen. That is, who are they? What do we do about it? Not explaining, but you see, it started like this, it ended like that. No. It just shows an ingrained culture within the political system, the political class that is then dominating the social culture. Yes, NRM is not responsible for 1966, 1971, but for 40 years of the 60 years of Uganda, they have had an opportunity to bring us away from. But when you talk about basements and these disappearances and the beatings like those from the army, I think we are going there. We're going back to 1970 and probably even going further than we did in 1970. The Elections Act does provide for staying at least 20 meters away from the polling station. Now, when you have leaders in this country from the army, the attorney general, all sort of manipulating the law to use it as a reason for people going away from the polling station, then we have a problem. Then Benjamin's words ring true that it's part of a grander political scheme that you're telling people go away from the polling, go home. After you vote, go home. The law says 20 meters. So 20 meters and home are two totally different things. Now, when you have leadership speaking like that, how do you blame the policeman who is going to pick up a stick and beat everybody who is 30 meters outside the polling station? Because it's go to home. Yes, exactly. See, the boss said go home. The CDF said go home. So if I don't beat you, I am disobeying the orders from the CDF. That continues to show a pattern of rule by law. So it's about using the law to enforce certain preconceived notions.
Why is the CDF talking about it? I saw Sojourner Narui sort of. Are they allowed to be talking about it?
No. They shouldn't be, because that is in getting involved in elections, getting involved in politics. And you see we've normalized so many wrong things that then we begin to just pick at the small bits and say we shouldn't be talking. He's saying the wrong thing. We don't talk about the fact that he's actually talking about it, and that is in itself a problem. So I think these people need to be advised. The Land Attorney General needs to review his understanding of the law. If he thinks that 20 meters away means go home, then he needs to really revise that.
But I think he has actually pointed out and corrected several times that the Attorney General has on several occasions taken media interviews and has said, what if your home is in 20 meters from the polling station? Where do you go? So the law provides for 20 meters. That you are not supposed to go home, like they say. You stay at the polling station.
On the floor of Parliament, he actually said, "Go home." And see that this is the grand stage. So I'm hoping those interviews that he has taken have also had as much traction as the words of the CDF as the words that he shared on the floor of Parliament. I hope the Daily Monitor can run with something a little more approximate to the truth than go home.
The election this week.
Thank you so much. Listen to what is going on. It only tells you that the man in charge of us, or our captor, mastered the book of Machiavelli, the poetics of Machiavelli. Never dropped.
Who are saying the captor? President Museveni?
Yes. We are captives. We are captives. He says you will stand, we stand, sleep, we sleep, work, you work, pay taxes, we pay. That's where we are.
So why didn't you stand in NRM primary?
So, at his age, whatever, I'm trying to resist it. Whatever I hear them say, they would be smarter by trying to organize something for the EC boss to actually be the person saying all this. But you see, when a man gets to Mr. Museveni's age, all his kids and grandkids try to please him so that they appear in his will. So everybody wants to say, it is me who said this that actually helped you to win. They know what they are saying is wrong. They know whatever they are doing is wrong. So they would be smarter, but they don't want to be smart. Machiavelli says that if you have a trick that helped you get where you're going, keep it. So violence has kept Mr. Museveni going. Malcolm was talking about NRM. There's nothing like NRM. How many vice presidents have been in office since Mr. Museveni came to power?
And it is not illegal.
How many prime ministers? So everybody has changed. There's only one constant.
What's wrong with that?
So it is a cause that we must be addressing. Whoever even tries to talk about reforms, you are ejected. So it's about the thinking of Mr. Museveni. Now it is actual family rule. The people with the power are those in the family, or if you share DNA, or you are connected by marriage, you have power. So that's where power is. And those that you see them running around to say a few things are those who actually work for those who yield power. So where we are going is the intention that I have read. I have been watching news very well. When you see, when they get to the slot of Mr. Museveni, they try to show you what he has achieved in the 40 years, what he intends to do.
Now when they bring the torch bearer of with the opposition,
limited time.
Honorable Kyagulanyi, they show when he's being clobbered, being stopped, and that is the news. So they are making sure that the about 40% Ugandans who do not belong to political parties who would want to choose, do not choose the opposition. Choose this guy who is promising roads, bridges, jobs, and the like. It is designed by these guys. And so that's why, for me,
I'm going to interrupt you, but I'd say that's a campaign strategy. But just Fred Bamwine is coming on. You know when you have 5 minutes left, and I want to give 1 minute to Katana so that Bamwine responds to it. So you have a Gerald.
So
microphone.
But microphone. Gerald says Kyagulanyi started the maths. He told his supporters the number of policemen and soldiers combined cannot cover villages and so on, and he concluded, Banotuba Sobola. Then Joseph says, what did he say? That it is a NUP doesn't follow guidelines like other candidates. I give a minute to respond to
I
that,
think
and
two
then
things.
we go to
One, I think Gerard has a very narrow view of the landscape. Because first of all, the context is that if you are 45 million people, why do you allow 50,000 to beat you, to harass you, to maim you? Challenge them. But even the mathematics of Ivan and his candidate Museveni is flawed. Because of the 50,000 soldiers he's counting on, some of them are our supporters. You wait for the results from the barracks. But number two,
no, I just gave you a minute to respond,
yes,
but we are out of
yes,
time.
Number
Let's
two,
go
on the
to
question of roots, even itself is a flawed argument. Because why are roots only designated for one candidate? We are not running under apartheid, that there are rules that apply to this candidate and rules that don't apply to the other person. Our candidate has not...
Allow him to speak.
Oscar, you got worried. I listened to my colleagues and I saw the time you are saying we are out of time. Anyway,
I spared all of 4 minutes for you.
But my worry, when I listen to my colleagues, I think they don't stay in this country. Maybe they have come from the Mars. One, as a person, I am now making 59. I have been
still a young man.
I have been a follower and participant of Uganda's events. So this government of NRM is the 9th. They are the 8 first ones which were here. Government collapsing, 1 year, 2 months. So to make 40 years, it's not just by accident, it's by design. 2, all these events you are talking about, they are all intelligence-led activities or operations. And I was looking at, is he Derek? Yes.
Hey, Derek.
I was wondering if Derek is true a journalist. I have not heard anything significant, positive he has mentioned about government. And I was asking myself, because even coming on Capital Gang, where there is a commission of government, it was never heard of. But at least you are sure you are here with a commission of government. It can go. No. I gave you time. I have
on your microphone.
Yes. 2. So if we have a journalist who is partisan, then why does he expect? 3, in Uganda, there is a singer, I don't know the name,
Bobby Wine,
but he sang a song called Abatasi Gansigo. I know you're obsessed with Bobby Wine. Yeah, I don't know whether he's the one. Abatasi Gansigo.
Benjamin, your microphone is...
That's Chameleon.
Chameleon. I also like Chameleon.
Now, if you propagate hate and violence, what do you expect to reap? Because NRM government was the state of Uganda gave NRM government 5 years, 2021 to 2025, 26 May. The state gave the government And the responsibility of the government of Uganda is to make sure the state of Uganda does not collapse until the next government. That's why it is given instruments of the state, police, the courts, the army, the DPP and others. Now, every year, the government is allocated resources to state to intelligence services, specifically to monitor all of you. From the time you woke up to the time you go to sleep, whom have you talked with? What are you planning? And once there is an early warning signal that you are likely to cause insecurity, then the government evokes its state institutions, instruments to make sure the state remains, and also you don't cause havoc to others. Last week or 2 weeks ago, my brother, you know me, I'm from Kamocha here, Green Valley. My brother Chagulanyi comes from Africa. He was at Kawempe here, and he says from today on, we are rebels. Go and do rebel tactics. Go and recruit gangs. And I'm going to not announce anymore. The announcement has gone. Which sane state in the world, can fold its hands because he has directed people to do rebel activities and tactics, and you expect then they can be handled with kid gloves?
I'm going to be allowed to continue just a few more minutes so that you also have hope.
Yes.
But who did he copy on that one? You know, there's also someone who said, this year I'm going to the ghetto. And he came to the ghetto in Kamocha.
Yes.
Really?
He said nobody has ever declared a rebellion. It was Kyagulanyi. And he said to form gangs. And when the gangs were formed, whether you deny or not, we are in Capital Gang, which ran that news.
And Benjamin Katana gave last word to Babu.
I think it has enough.
We gave last word to him.
Yes. So,
everyone should accept. We gave last word to him. So we gave him last word.
I was hearing the question.
Fred Bamwine, people are also saying here that we're a gang.
So you see, you may laugh.
But
you may laugh.
RDC Fred Bamwine.
But
we are
very good.
Out of our time now. Ivan, we are out of our time. And we are going to construct a topic for you. What I want you to do is give a final sentence that is full
the
of
final
hope.
sentence is very simple.
Is full of hope.
The final sentence is very simple.
Your microphone is not on it.
The final sentence is very simple.
Yes.
The state of Uganda is represented at the district level by the District Security Committee and the District Intelligence Committee chaired by the RDC. And their responsibility to that level, because decentralization came, but security was never decentralized. So all this, whatever is being done, is to make sure you go to elections, you go and vote, and finish, and the state of Uganda remains standing.
Okay, thank you very much.
I want to appeal to Katana and his colleagues. Please, this is an election to convince people to support you.
But
if they refuse...
You've agreed to come back next week?
Every time you invite me, I'm here.
I have invited you next week. So we have a better discussion.
But when I come,
especially
give me time like any other. Because
you will have time because
yes,
we have a topic designed for you.
Because I have seen people...
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, listeners of Capital Gang. Continue listening to us on our online platforms. We are going to have a more discussion on this topic and then also talk about his intelligence services, i.e. Fred Bamwine. Thank you, Star Cafe. Thank you to all the panelists. I am Oscar Semoyamsoke, and I shall see you next week.